Beep, 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 beep. Usual stuff. How you doing? Right, okay. Well, it's getting a bit echoey, isn't it? This, people have said to me, you've got a bit of echo going on there, you need to get... I'm going to hang some coats on the wall and put some furnishings, some plush furnishings in. In theory, that should do away with the echo, but it's going to take me a few days to do it, so bear with me. If I'm a bit echoey, hearing me once is bad enough. Hearing me multiple times after the other, it's all, a bit Lawrence of Arabia, isn't it? With a rumpty-tumpty-tub. Right, okay, so, LGBT Foundation. You ever heard of them? Go and have a look, right? LGBT Foundation, based in Manchester, been around for years. I've supported them in just about anything they ever did, up to a point, and then we stopped, right? But they supported me as well. So we've done a bit of the old mutual support thing, and I was grateful for it then at the time. I don't know what they are now, right? And this confirms it. I'm so angry. Okay, the LGBT Foundation, they ran a condom scheme for years that was really effective at helping to stop HIV being spread for years. They've done all sorts of stuff over their time, but this is what they've become. And I'm really angry about it. Spitting blood. So let's just go through it, shall we? We'll become a warrior teacher. Get angry warrior teacher. Buy me a coffee, usual stuff, right? But this is serious, okay? And it really shows how far they've fallen and how they are now no longer really in any way to be described as an organisation that has the best interests of gays and lesbians or even women and children, which is what this report states so clearly. From the Telegraph, on the 2nd of September, trans maternity report backed by NHS could have harmed women. The new study says methodologically flawed research by LGBT Foundation made misleading claims and spurious recommendations. That's what you become, LGBT Foundation. With your trans and your non-binary bull crap. That's what you become. A danger to women and to unborn children. Unborn babies. What have you done? This was supposed to be a transgender maternity report. I can't get my head around any of that. All right? It's immaterial. Trans and non-binary. It's immaterial. They're women. The hell is wrong with you? Right? I don't understand. If this is really about dysphoria, which it's not, by the way, but if it was really about it, the last thing you want to do is have a baby. Can you think of anything more female? A transgender maternity report commissioned by public health chiefs made misleading claims and spurious recommendations which could have harmed women, experts have warned. Last year, the LGBT Foundation published research into the experiences of 121 trans and non-binary users of maternity services. It's just insane. Insane. It needs to be made clear that the LGBT Foundation has nothing to do with the LG or the B. Nothing. It needs to be made clear to the gays and the lesbians still mincing around bloody Canal Street, thinking that everything's okay and that they're all helping each other, blah, 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 that this is what the result of this is. And that your inaction as gay people is what is making this worse. And I'm including friends of mine in that. It said that the 121 trans and non-binary users of maternity services in England claiming that 30% have received no care at all during their pregnancy. I don't believe it. 3 in 10 women not getting care during their pregnancy. You've only got to look at it to begin with, it's rubbish. It also urged maternity services to consider using more inclusive language, such as chest feeding, and suggested visible markers of inclusion such as posters, badges, including name badges with pronouns and lanyards. This group of nutters, along with Stonewall mermaids and every other gendered intelligence, every other damn group that's attached to this, needs to be cut from the NHS like you would cut a tumour from your arm. Get it gone. The worst thing about it is NHS initially announced plans to spend £100,000 on staff training based on the report's recommendations, but later withdrew the scheme following a petition by clinicians expressing concerns about the report's conclusions. I wonder who they were paying the £100,000 to. Proud Trust? Mermaids? LGBT Foundation? How much public money are you going to waste on this trans and non-binary cobblers? How much? right? Are you going to give money, public money, to the people that now support gay conversion therapy? Public money for the conversion of lesbians and gay people in a young age? Public money to allow people to live a falsity that damages others and our society? Yep. £100,000 to spend on men LARPing as women who damage their wives and their children through their fetish and their paraphilia. That is what the LGBT Foundation has become. That is what you now stand for. And it's got nothing to do with me. Nothing. I'm so mad at you. New researchers at the University of Oxford, Coventry in the west of England, Bristol have re-examined the report and found major flaws. Respondents had given birth over a 30-year period, with many not actually presenting as trans or non-binary during their pregnancy. That cannot possibly have been overlooked, can it? LGBT Foundation? Can that have possibly been overlooked? Or are you lying to protect your ideological stream of money? They also found that after over 30, many not actually presenting as trans or non-binary during their pregnancy. Retrospective. Grievance mining. You're grievance mining cultists. They also found that survey questions had been worryingly imprecise, leading to confused results. While 30% had answered no to the question, did you get support from NHS or private midwives during your pregnancies or pregnancy? Elsewhere in the survey, 82% said they had received antenatal care. They knew this. They knew this, and they still gave them the report, which almost led to the spending of £100,000. Now, if that £100,000 of spending was with them, if the LGBT Foundation was getting £100,000 of spending from the NHS because of this report, which they cannot possibly have known was anything but flawed, then in my mind that is criminal fraud. And Greater Manchester Police will be getting a phone call from me to state as much. Criminal fraud. And if you've done that with other people like the Proud Trust or Stonewall, that's conspiracy to commit fraud. Is it me, or should the police know? Let me know down in the Dewberries. What's going on here? Was Manchester Pride involved? There's a heading there, no data to support LGBT Foundation claims. The LGBT Foundation used the 30% claim to suggest that pregnant, trans and non-binary people were being put at risk, but the authors said there was no data to support the claim. You're telling me they didn't know? So it's either incompetence, right? It's either incompetence or it's fraud. Which is it? The police need to investigate. They need to investigate if criminal activity is taking place here. The report also recommended the use of inclusive language for every service user, giving the example that a participant who had received a letter referring to pregnant woman had worried they might be excluded from care. That's because you're lying about all this, cobblers. Worried they might be. They know they're a woman. The hell is wrong with you? But the experts warned that adopting inclusive language could be harmful for women and cautioned the NHS that the experiences of a very small minority of service users should not be used to inform policy for everyone. Sometimes I'm repeating myself. I repeat myself most of the damn time. Don't you feel like that? Like you're repeating yourself all the time? Some things are worth repeating, and this is one of them. Writing in the British Journal of Midwifery, they said, the Journal of Midwifery, does that mean it only comes out once every 9 months? Silly mouth. Writing in the British Journal of Midwifery, they said what the authors recommend as inclusive language for trans and non-binary maternity service users may in fact be detrimental to many other maternity service users. But you've got to have the priestly class at the top, folks, haven't you? Eh? A population level move from sex-based to gender-based reference may have a detrimental effect on clear communication, diminish accessibility of health communication, and increase health inequalities for women with English as a second language, those with a learning disability and those with low health literacy. If this were the case, it may contravene the clear information principle of health communication, increasing the potential for unintended adverse health consequences and excluding some groups of service users. The study also found there was no evidence to support many of the recommendations, such as wearing inclusivity lanyards to make trans and non-binary people feel welcome. It does the exact opposite for me, and I know it does for you, because you've told me. You know, I see it. I see... I checked an eye in the week. If I see it, right? They criticised the report for being one-sided, methodologically flawed, and peppered with gender identity-based language, which was still contested in the scientific community. The report author Catherine Webb from the Institute of Clinical Psychology at Oxford University told The Telegraph, "It is clear that the authors of the study had good intentions, but they unfortunately did not have scientific intentions." I don't believe that, Catherine. No, I believe you said it. I don't mean I don't believe that you said it. I believe you said it. I believe you're being too kind. I believe there needs to be a criminal investigation. There needs to be a criminal investigation into this. You put out a document that flawed and you don't know? Why are you even in the game? Right? You put out a document that's biased and you don't know? Why are you even in the game? They knew. I believe they knew. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong by all means, but I believe they knew. The LGBT Foundation then said it stood by the report, which said highlighted that trans and non-binary people sometimes struggle to receive adequate care. Dr. Paul Martin, OBE, the chief executive of the LGBT Foundation, said, "We're very proud of our research, which sets out clearly and for the first time trans and non-binary people's experiences of maternity care. What the research shows is that trans and non-binary people have sometimes been let down by maternity services, so we'd encourage everyone to listen to what they have to say so that these services can be improved." An NHS spokesperson said the scope of this work was limited and it did not impact NHS policy. No, but it nearly gave them £100,000, didn't it? Was the money earmarked for them? Was the £100,000 for training going to gendered intelligence? Because these guys talk to each other, right? You know, they're all, let's do this next. They're all doing that. I can tell you that now. It's the third sector. There's only one sector more vicious than the third sector, and that's the AG sector, right? Let me know who the Duber is, right? Because there's a great bit that follows that from Catherine Webb from the Oxford Institute of Clinical Psychology called "The Reason NHS Must Adhere to Evidence-Based Healthcare," and it's worth a read. So I will put the links in the Duber is, right? And you go and have a look. But the LGBT Foundation, I think there needs to be a criminal investigation. Nothing less will do. What do you think? I'll see you later. Bye-bye.